It is time for another edition of the Super Bowl, and well, sadly, at least for me, it is the last edition of the Super Bowl. You have submitted your recipes to me all last week, and there was a lot of them as well, but there was one that I just said, I've got to do it. I have got to try that one out. And the reason I say that, because I actually go to tristatehomepage.com, and to submit these recipes to me, and a lady actually mailed a recipe in to me. She is from Evansville. Carol Craig sent this in. So then when I opened it up, I was like, oh, I fell in love. Look at the penmanship with this. Wrote the recipe, spent the time to write the recipe out and mail it in to me. And I thought, well, it's country cabbage soup. This country boy's got to make it. So here we go. Here is Carol's recipe, and it is super, super easy. So inside the bowl right now, what I have going on is I bought 1 pound of Italian sausage and then let it cook for just a little bit, and then as it's cooking, taking my spatula and dicing things up. As it was almost done cooking, I took an entire onion and put that inside the sausage and let that all simmer together in that grease from the sausage to really soften those onions up, but also get that flavor inside the onion as well. So what we have here is I now am just kind of thawing it back out, if you will, because I kept it in the refrigerator. So getting that all warmed back up. She says then what you want to do is get a large can of tomato juice. No, we're not talking tomato soup. We're not talking tomato paste. I wanted to make sure, and yes, she said a can of tomato juice, which I have here. So I'm going to carefully grab this tomato juice because, boy, it's a big can. She even said the 46 ounce, which is exactly what this is. So we're going to slowly pour that in to not make a mess. Going to turn my burner on high now since we're adding in the liquid to get that flame going a little bit more. After that, she says, then you're going to grab yourself 2 cans of kidney beans. Now, she said 2 of the number 2 size. I must admit, I've never heard of a number 2 size kidney bean. I have no doubt it exists by any means, but I didn't know what that was. So I just went ahead and just got the regular kidney beans. The kidney beans, though, she says to drain them. So I have my can of kidney beans, but I've already drained it. So I'm going to add that in here as well. 2 cans of good kidney beans that have been drained. She then said, get you a can of the Rotel tomatoes. She says that she believes it only comes in one size, but I actually saw some in a bigger can. So what I did is I just went ahead and just kept things safe and went with the small can here of the Rotel. So I'm going to add that in. This is the original. They have different heat with it as well. If you like some heat, add a little heat in there, or maybe get you another can of the green chilies and mix that in as well. But this is just a regular Rotel with the green chilies, not much heat to this. Then she says 1 can of diced tomatoes. She didn't say to drain it, so I did not drain these, though there's really not too much liquid in these. It's just the tomatoes. I did not get the fire roasted kind, but I do love my fire roasted tomatoes, so that would be something that you could go with. Now, she called this country cabbage soup, and indeed, that's what this is going to be. So, in the sake of television, of course, we've got to hurry things up with this, but she did say that if you're making this, that you want to bring your liquids that you have already inside here with your tomatoes and your beans and everything else, bring that to a simmer first, then add your cabbage. So we've only got about a minute or so left here. So what I'm going to do is just continue to stir and get this warm. But I'm going to go ahead and add my cabbage into this. What I did is I took a whole head of cabbage, got a really sharp knife, and then just diced that cabbage up into small pieces. So I'm going to add my cabbage into this. And to be quite honest, that might be all the cabbage I can add because this pot is getting full. But she did say once you add your cabbage into this, stir it up really good, but then you're going to want to let it simmer for about a minute. She says, 10 minutes. She said you still, want your cabbage to be crispy, but you also want it to be not as crunchy as if it was, just right fresh as you had just cut it up. So mixing all this in together, then I'm going to bring it to a simmer. And one way that I'm going to try to make it simmer probably a little bit quicker is I actually have a lid that I'm going to put on top. So that is the country cabbage soup. If you want the recipe with the particulars on this soup or any of the soups I've cooked this week, because on Tuesday, let's see here, I think I did a chicken tortilla. No, I did that at Wednesday. Nonetheless, I had a chicken tortilla soup. I've had a hot and sour soup. I did a creamy chicken noodle soup that was really good, and lots of different flavor soups. So if you want any of those, all you have to do is go to tristatehomepage.com. And if you find a section, it's called The Big Game. When you click on that, takes you to another link on our page, and right there, dead center, it says Joe's Super Bowl recipes, and that's where you can get all these. I'm gonna let this simmer. We'll see how things look coming up here in just a couple of minutes.